Good afternoon and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, Lord Ebo Risi Hards. You're watching Izce called Exchange TVs, and this is a segment we're doing on suit advisors. What suit advisors is we do research and things on accounting, and I have my good friend here, Mr. Steve Schmidt.
Hi, how are you?
You got to get on the film here.
Hi, how are you?
Steve is a professional accountant, and I also have my other good buddy here, Oscar Zaragoza. He manages a small firm right across the street with houses about 30 offices, and they want to. And I just have a few questions for these guys. And one of them is, are there any hidden fees in accounting? Get on there so we can see it. Get on the camera.
Yes, especially when it comes to banks, and you find out after you sign up with the bank that there's fees on the monthly statement that weren't explained. So definitely yes.
What do you think about that, Oscar? Are there hidden fees in accounting?
Yeah, if the gentleman feels this way, there are hidden fees, yes. I cannot pinpoint which ones will be applicable, but anyway, they do have hidden fees. Not that I do anything wrong, it's just that sometimes not everything is disclosed right away.
Oh, I see. So if there's hidden fees and it's brought up, is there a way that the company or the individual can get those monies back?
I don't know about that. That might be kind of tricky.
But they don't have to disclose the fees.
Well, they should. They should have transparency on those things. But anyway, sometimes there are fees that people don't even know about, and they might pop up later on. So.
All right. So I got another question for you guys right here, because you guys are the experts on accounting. I just run a small firm, but you guys are the masterminds on this. In the wealth gap in accounting, what do you think about the wealth gap in accounting? Because they said, what is it, the universal tax code they want to start putting in? Do you think everyone should have the universal tax code, or is the wealth gap affecting the way accounting is done today?
What do you think about that?
What do you think, Steve?
I don't know enough about the universal tax code that you're mentioning. I can only speak from a compensation end. Obviously, there's a wealth gap. Obviously, from the compensation end, there's a wealth gap depending on the position you have, whether it's a junior accountant or all the way up to controller and CFO. That's true even in a small private business. But there's also huge gaps between a large public company or a small private company as far as the compensation. So I can only speak to the compensation end of that question.
One more question for you, Steve, on that wealth gap. Just letting us know a little bit more about your background. How long have you been in accounting? How long have you been a professional tax provider in accounting?
I've never been a tax provider. I've been a controller and CFO of different companies over the last 40 years.
40 years?
Yes.
Wow, that's an extensive tax record. I think Mr. Schmidt here would know exactly what he's talking about. One more question, and I'd like both of you to elaborate on this. Tax structure in business, is it feasible for small business? Because one thing I notice when you're doing your returns, or like when you have a small business, people come to us and they get charged there's a tax, there's like a $1,500 tax just for being in business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when you're doing accounting, do you think this is feasible for small businesses? Because that can really hurt a small business makes, even if they're 50,000 and under, that can hurt them. You know what I mean? That can
there needs to be a more progressive tax structure just in business, just like on the personal level. My opinion is there needs to be a more progressive tax structure for those that can afford versus those that cannot. One of these days we'll figure it out.
Another thing I should mention that if small business can raise it as a subchapter S, which means you don't pay taxes.
I'm a little closer to them.
You don't pay taxes on the income for the small business. It all goes into your personal income tax. And that's where I used to work. We file a form for our business, whether we made money or we made or we lost money, it doesn't matter. If we made money, then we have to pay taxes. But that money the profits goes into the owner's tax return, the Form 1040.
Okay.
So that to us was a benefit, because I know the tax structure for business sometimes is high, as you were saying, but then if you're a subchapter S, then you don't pay taxes.
Oh, okay.
On the businesses. The income from the business goes over to the owner when he files his 1040,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And
All
then,
right.
or if there is a loss, he goes to the owner's too, then he puts it in 1040 as a loss.
I
So he
see.
takes the benefit of the profits or the loss, or he has to pay taxes.
I
And
see.
then that's, and to us it was easy because we filed the return, we pay no taxes, and sometimes we file late.
Mhm.
There's no penalty for, well, there's a penalty for filing late, but there's no penalty for paying the taxes because the tax is paid by the owner. And the owner doesn't do the 1040, then he's got to pay.
I see.
So that's for a small business, okay, not even not for profit corporation.
Right.
That's a whole different story. But if you're a public company, then the whole scenario changes. You know.
So one more question, Oscar, Mr. So come a little closer to the mic so everybody can see you here. A little more. How long have you been managing your firm locally here?
No, I managed the condo association for the
Right.
past 30 years.
30 years.
And I worked in accounting for the past, 30 years or so.
Wow. So I want to thank you, Mr. Zaragoza and Mr. Steve Schmidt, for your valuable time. And just to let everybody know, this is Lord Ibo Ricci-Hodge. You've been watching IZ Corp Exchange Television. This right here in front of us is 70 years of professional tax consulting and advising and work. And if you come to us suit advisors, you can get some more knowledge and insight on what this is all about.
And by the way, you mentioned about taxes. We stay away from taxes in our business. That's why we have a CPA.
Ah, so you just go ahead and hire somebody else to do the legwork.
You know, we give him all. I used to give him all the paperwork, give him all the books, everything, and then he'll file the tax.
What does he charge you for that?
Oh, he'll charge $2,000 or $3,000.
$2,000 or $3,000.
Oh yeah.
And how much money are you? How much? Like, what's the money? Like a couple million? Or?
No, the company was worth about $5 million, and
$5 million?
and the profit and the sales were like about $3 million a year.
And
it wasn't a huge company.
And he charged you about $3,000 a year.
Yeah.
Have you ever been audited? What was the audit? Never audited.
Remember, only the bank audited one time because we have a loan based on our inventory, so they want to check if it was true.
I see.
But basically, as Steve's saying, only public companies get audited. By law, they have to be audited because these are people who, buy stock on the company.
Right.
So they want to make sure that the company is good. But a private corporation, unless you have a loan, you don't get audited. I mean, anybody can audit it. Maybe some of the owners or maybe the employees, I think some funny stuff going on in this corporation that I work for, maybe it should be audited. And they can demand an audit. I don't know.
I hear you. Again, I want to thank you, gentlemen, for your valuable time. And I'll see you this time next week, and we'll have some more questions for you to masterminds. Thank you all. Again, you're watching IZ Corp Exchange Television. This is a segment on suit advisors for tax consulting research. My name is Lord Ibo Ricci-Hodge. You were just introduced to Mr. Steve Smith and Mr. Oscar Zaragoza, two of my good friends and really good accountants in the community. Thank you and have a very, very great day. Goodbye.